not all of them realize it, and I try to drive it home, but it sometimes takes a while to sink in that, like, you have really important things to say and to offer to the adults of this church.
Yep.
And that's part of why we're engaging in this project, this practice.
It's that time of year when the world falls in love. It's not Christmas time. It's the time when we celebrate the young people of this church.
Yes.
Welcome to this special edition of Tiny Pulpit Talks. I'm Reverend TJ Fitzgerald, the Minister of Community Care and Engagement, and with me is
Reverend Beth Dana, Minister of Faith Development.
This is the reason I'm a Unitarian Universalist.
It is. Tell the story again.
I want to tell the story. I've probably told it on other podcasts, but I'm going to keep telling it. The first Unitarian Universalist service I ever went to was a coming of age credo service at All Souls Unitarian on the Upper East Side of New York City. And I went in and I heard all the young people giving what are called their coming of age credos, which are like mini homilies about what they do or don't believe. And one of the young women said, "I don't believe in anything." And the whole congregation was like, yeah! And she justified it. But it was beautiful, the way she talked about the nuance that it wasn't what she needed. She needed her people, her community. There wasn't an external belief. It was more that she had trust and that she still had faith.
That is faith.
It was
trust, faith.
I mean,
yeah.
It's still sticking with me. I remember what she was wearing. I remember everything. And we are doing our version of this coming up. This is this season. So I'm so glad you're with us to talk about this important time in the life of this church, not just in the young people of our church, but of this church.
Yes.
Right?
Right. Well, so these young people who are coming of age have grown up in this church for varying amounts of time, some of them since they were babies, since they were born, and have been shaped into the people that they are today in part by this community. And the coming of age year is a time where, like in many religious traditions, there's some rituals and some traditions that we have. It's a time when young people are kind of claiming their religious identity. And so a piece of that is what they believe, but it's also about, like, who are you and what's important to you and how do you live that? And so they spend the whole year, learning about themselves, learning about Unitarian Universalism, building community, engaging in spiritual practice. And then at the end of the year, throughout the year, they're preparing to do this, what we call a spiritual reflection project. And where they do get up in front of their community and they share, this is what's important to me. This is how I think about my faith and the ways that Unitarian Universalism has shaped me. And it is just amazing.
Yeah, it blows me away every time. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things that I do every year is working with our ninth graders on preparing for this really important ritual that is coming up this weekend.
Absolutely. And one of the things I notice about it is just, it's always new ways of looking at things I think I know already.
Yeah.
That I learn so much every time we go. And I always tell people who are struggling with new ideas, who are thinking about complex situations, who think they need to think harder and harder and harder, I always tell them, go ask a young person what they think and what they're living in school and among their peers and the way media is impacting them and the way they think about the future of the world before you start either trying to A, solve the problem you think you have, or B, create a solution that actually won't impact you that much.
Yeah.
I'm just preaching now.
Yeah,
but, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I learn things every year working with our ninth graders, and not all of them realize it. And I try to drive it home, but it sometimes takes a while to sink in that, like, you have really important things to say and to offer to the adults of this church.
Yep.
And that's part of why we're engaging in this project, this practice, is because you, as a coming of age ninth grader, have something to offer to this community.
Yep. Yeah. And this is not an uncommon period in life. Like many faith traditions around ninth grade have this transition. I mean, in there, they call it more like some magical transformation into adulthood, and not always magical, but you get the right to say you're an adult in that community.
Yeah.
I feel like that might happen a little later in our community here.
A little bit than some traditions, yeah. Because a piece of this is it's about claiming who you are and becoming, kind of taking more responsibility for your own faith. You know, as children are growing up in the church, their religious education, their faith development, their engagement with the church is largely driven by their parents, their families. But at this point in their growth and maturation, we're saying you get to make a choice about who you are and how you are in the world and in this community. We invite them to join the church if they want to join the church. And we did have a few just last Sunday who joined the church. And so there's this kind of, you know, in some ways you're becoming an adult in the church, a young adult. But
young adult.
Yeah.
I mean, we define young adults differently and all that stuff, but that's the way we see it. But we also are doing something coming up for a little bit older students that we call bridging.
Yes.
And what is bridging? Tell the folks who aren't quite sure what all our lingo is.
Right. So bridging is what our 12th graders who are graduating high school, it's acknowledging that transition from one chapter of their life, one stage of their life to the next. You know, most of them are leaving home, you know, whether it's going to college or out into the world in some other way. And so it's a celebration of that and a blessing of who they are and a recognition of how this community has shaped them and a reminder that this will continue to be their church home wherever they go.
Church home, exactly.
Yep.
And one of our great moments is walking out on Christmas Eve and seeing I'm getting emotional.
Yes, the young adults who've returned.
Sitting with their parents and just looking up and having that time together. And we mean it. Like, one of the most joyful times at this church is after worship on Christmas Eve. When we're seeing everyone back from college from whatever they're doing.
All the 20-somethings they're the last ones here on Christmas Eve, I swear.
Shutting the place down.
Yes. After the ministers are gone, the 20-somethings who are, you know, back from wherever their lives have taken them have come home to their childhood church home and are reconnecting.
And that also says something. We know them and we've watched them grow for 20 years and the ministers are like, we're gone. You guys got it from here. It's your church. Bye. You know? And you know, it's really wonderful. And I think a lot of churches are hungering for any young people at all. And when I tell people that sometimes we have 200 people over there on a Sunday, they don't even know what to do with that information. And I'm not just talking about other Unitarian churches. I'm talking about churches writ large. But my belief, as someone who's sort of the newest member of the ministerial staff, is how much reliance, importance, and responsibility you place here. The values we have for young people, their thoughts and their own values, is very different from a lot of places I've ever been. Yeah. And I think it's a lot testament to your ministry here. So,
thanks.
But
I
think it means
you know,
a lot.
I stand on the shoulders of a lot of people before me who, you know, I mean, it's something that's also in the DNA of this church.
Yes.
Is supporting our young people and our families and really understanding and investing in the importance of religious education and faith development for all ages.
Absolutely. And speaking of all ages, if you're feeling you missed out, that you didn't get a chance to come of age in Unitarian Universalism, there are plenty of offerings where you can start to discern your own real belief system, your own values through our Faith Forward program, through other offerings we have here.
We even have a class called Coming of Age for Adults.
Yes, that's it. And so don't miss out.
Yeah.
This can be
Check those out.
Yours too. And we are always growing throughout our entire lives. That's why.
Exactly. We come of age again and again.
Exactly. We come out again and again. Yeah, we come of age again.
We're never finished.
We're never finished coming out. It's that time of year. Sorry. So we're so glad that you joined us for this celebratory time of year and for this wonderful special edition of Tiny Pulpit Talks. If you have questions, let us know. If you have comments or if you came of age at this church and you want to tell us about it, we want to hear about it. Subscribe to the podcast, review us, do all those fun things. And if we don't see you before then, we'll see you on Sunday. Bye-bye.
Bye.